Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to the special edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. It is that time again to get into your time machine and go back. This time we're going back 3 years. We're going to look at the top 10 hottest cards 3 years ago and see how they fared today. Are they a boom? Did they go up in value over the last 3 years? Or are they a bust? Did they lose value? Couple things though before we get started. First, I do want to say thank you to 3 viewers who gave super thanks tips for last week's Boom or Bust video. Maddie J Mania, Todd Branch, and Whip. Thank you to the 3 of you for your support. The super thanks tips, they mean a lot to me, to the channel. Thank you. All 3 of you frequently give super thanks tips. Thank you for that support. And one last reminder, remember you can go to FlipsideGaming.com and use the Heroes promo code to save 10% on orders over $10. Currently you can pre-order Commander Masters products there. Preview season for that begins July 11th. That's coming up pretty quick. And there's also a whole lot of other things on the website. Remember, if your order's over $100 or consists only of singles, shipping will be free in the United States. Also, whenever you use the Heroes promo code, it does support the channel, which is always appreciated. So thank you. And without any further ado, let's get into it. 3 years ago, our number 10 card was Necrogen Mists. It was up $1.34 to $5.69. That was a 31% increase. Now, you gotta remember, 3 years ago, Jumpstart was being previewed. One of the cards in particular was causing this to jump. That was Tiny Bones Trinket Thief. Fast forward 3 years later, and this card is about to get its first reprint in the Bad to the Bone Secret Lair. And it still gets commander play in Tiny Bones decks, but it is also in the Tergrid God of Fright / Tergrid's Lantern builds, and those are more popular than Tiny Bones today. Ultimately, believe it or not, this one is seeing a slight boom. Let's take a look. It has gone up $1.13 to $6.82 over the last 3 years. That is a 20% increase. Number 9 3 years ago was Okagachi Vengeful Kami from Commander 2017. This copy only comes in foil. It was going up $1.41 to $7.94 for a 22% increase. At that time, this was in the Ur-Dragon Commander builds, and the Ur-Dragon was reprinted a few months prior in the Kaleidoscope Killer Secret Lair. Okagachi was also a fairly popular commander for Spirit decks too. Today, it's still in the Ur-Dragon, and Deja Vu, it's about to get reprinted again, this time in Commander Masters. And Okagachi is still used as a commander for Spirit Tribal decks, and it's in other builds in the format too. But it was reprinted in the Dominaria United Painbow Commander deck last year, leading to a bust. This one has gone down $6.13 over the last 3 years to $1.81. That's a 77% decrease. Here was our number 8 card 3 years ago, Gibbering Descent. It was up $1.83 to $9.13 for a 25% increase. So back then, this was another card that heated up because of the preview of Tiny Bones Trinket Thief. Now, this card has never seen a reprint. It is still in Commander Tiny Bones decks, and it's also in Anya Falconwrath builds there too. But could this maintain its price from 3 years ago, considering it doesn't see that much play? Nope, this one is a bust. Over the last 3 years, it went down $4.06 to $5.07 for a 44% decrease. As you can see, there was a lot of hype around Tiny Bones Trinket Thief 3 years ago at this time. Number 7 was another Future Sight card, Heartwood Storyteller. It was up $1.87 to $11.42 for a 20% increase. At the time, the card was seeing increased commander play in Xera's The Writhing Storm decks, which were popular. Today, it is still in those commander builds, among a number of others, including some brand new ones. I've seen some get this card to upgrade the Lord of the Rings Food and Fellowship commander deck, which just came out, or to put it in fresh builds around a card from there. Treebeard Gracious Host. It's also in commander decks around a card from the Lord of the Rings main set, Fangorn Tree Shepherd, since this is a tree folk. But don't forget, this was reprinted in the last 3 years. It was in the list from Strixhaven through Innistrad Crimson Vow, and it was also part of the Time Spiral Remastered set. So again, we have another bust here. This one went down $9.42 over the last 3 years to $2. That's an 82% decrease. Number 6 was Marrow-Gnawer from Champions of Kamigawa. It was going up $2.66 to $14.99 for a 22% increase. 3 years ago, this was a popular Rat Tribal commander that was still hot in spite of the fact that it had recently been reprinted in foil, both in the Year of the Rat Secret Lair and in the Mystery Booster Retail Edition. Today it is still a popular rat tribal commander, and that tribe has had a lot of support over the last few years. You also see this in the 99 of commander builds around cards like Karumonix the Rat King, Ashcoat of the Shadow Swarm, and Nashi Moon's Legacy. And since the card has not received any further reprints over the last 3 years, this one is actually a boom. It went up $15.60 to $30.59 for a 104% increase. Back then, number 5 was the Chain Val for Magic 2015. It was up $3.35 to $23.39. That was a 17% increase. At the time, this was commonly found in Atraxa Praetor's Voice Commander decks, and Wizards had just announced that Atraxa would be reprinted in the upcoming Double Masters set. This was also in the 99 frequently with Joecken the Spirit Dragon, and that card was just reprinted in Core Set 2021. Additionally, the Chain Val always tended to get hot when a new set brought us more Planeswalkers, and Core Set 2021 had just done that, including one that many were excited about in the summer of 2020. That was Teferi, Master of Time. So fast forward 3 years, and this card still sees Commander play in a number of builds, including Atraxa Praetor's Voice, which was recently reprinted again in the Multiverse Legends subset from March of the Machine. But maybe more importantly, when it comes to value, there's a copy of this typically found in the Pioneer Nykthos Ramp deck sideboard, and that is a very popular and successful build in that format. However, this was reprinted in the list and could be found there from Zendikar Rising through Innistrad Midnight Hunt. Guess what though, even with the reprinting, the extra gameplay has carried this card, so it is a boom. It has gone up $3.70 to $27.09 for a 16% increase over the last 3 years. Number 4, 3 years ago, was Imp's Mischief. It went up $4.61 to $14.99 for a 38% increase. This was a great commander card in mono black builds, and many were picking this up or speccing on it because of that preview of Tiny Bones Trinket Thief at the time. Today, Imp's Mischief has still not been reprinted, and it is in a number of commander builds, including Carrick, Son of Yawgmoth. This one, believe it or not, is another boom. It went up $10.03 over the last 3 years to $25.02. That's a 67% increase. Back then, Riku of 2 Reflections from Commander was number 3. It was moving up $7.28 to $39.68 for a 22% increase at the time. And you know what? 3 years ago, this was a very popular commander that had only been reprinted as a Judge Foil. Today, it's still a fairly popular commander, and I have even seen this in the 99 at times in builds around a new card from Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth, Aragorn the Uniter. However, this did get a reprint in Double Masters, leading to a lot more copies getting into circulation, so you probably guessed this one is a bust. It is down $34.68 over the last 3 years to $5. That's an 87% decrease. 3 years ago, number 2 was Auntie's Hovel. It went up $16.56 to $39.99 for a 71% increase. And yeah, back then this was seeing a little modern play in Goblin decks. It was part of the mana base of Commander Goblin decks too, of course. But the release of Core Set 2021 and Jumpstart previews showed players that Wizards is still going to support the Goblin tribe very heavily. One card in particular was pushing this though, Conspicuous Snoop from Core Set 2021. Many wanted to secure copies of Auntie's Hovel for the mana base of a modern brew around Conspicuous Snoop. The deck wanted to combo that card with Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker as well as Bogart Harbinger, and then Mog Fanatic or Sling Gang Lieutenant. At the end of the day, that turned out to be too ambitious for Modern, but Auntie's Hovel still sees play in Commander Goblin builds that run black and red. Even though this has not been reprinted, there was just so much hype at the time that you couldn't expect this card to maintain this price, and yes, it is another bust. It has come down $26.05 over the last 3 years to $13.94. That is a 65% decrease. And finally, our number 1 card 3 years ago was Null Rod. It was up $19.58 to $68.19 for a 40% increase. Back then, this was seeing vintage play in stacks builds, and it was in the sideboard of a lot of other vintage decks too, plus it was getting some CEDH play as well. This large spike though appeared to be the result of a targeted reserve list buyout at that time. Now, we don't see as many of those targeted reserve list buyouts today, but we saw a lot between 2020 and 2022. Back then, these jumps were coming out of nowhere and were becoming common due to increased interest in collectibles in general from speculators and flippers. Fast forward to today, and yeah, you're seeing less of that kind of activity, but this card is actually seeing more play now than it did back then too. It is seen in some legacy sideboards, including a couple popular builds, Mono Red Prison and Death's Shadow. Also, this sees vintage sideboard play as well in Mono White Initiative, Oath of Druids, and more, and it even sees a little Commander play. Beyond that, it's in the pre-modern format too, and that format has had a bigger impact on card prices recently. So in spite of the fact that this was being bought out at this time 3 years ago, this one is still a boom. It's up $9.06 to $77.25 over the last 3 years. That's a 13% increase. So the big question, what if 3 years ago I bought one copy of each of these cards featured in this top 10? Well, it would have cost you $235.41 to do so. How much are these cards worth today? $194.59, which means you would have been out $40.82. That's a 17% value decrease overall. So I will say this, better number than the last 3 of these boom or bust videos we've done. It wouldn't feel so horrible to lose $40.82 and have these cards and be able to play with them for 3 years, right? We did actually see a few booms this week, but again, I think the lesson here is don't buy into the hype, and many times if you're patient, a reprint is going to come along. Alright, that does it for our boom or bust video for this week, but remember to join us this weekend for our regular episode of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch, where we look into everything that's happening in the secondary market. Until then though, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.